Hey Collective, it's Jeff. This is technically my first video doing a lesson on self-healing and self-love, which is the whole purpose of this channel. I hope that you'll stay tuned in and like and subscribe to this channel. It's important. It's something that I've been guided to do by Source, and you'll hear me refer to Source as divine or God. You can call it whatever you want. There shouldn't be any judgment in that, right? And what I'm here to talk about today is our own personal relationship with Source or divine or God, right? And it's important because, again, this is the first message that I was guided to do. I had my ideas about what I thought might be a first good topic, and it was very quickly scrapped once I posted the first video yesterday. I started getting flooded with information that I needed to share with the collective immediately. And it's being, sorry about that, it's being conveyed to me as being very, very important, especially with the timing, and I'm not 100% sure why, right? And I don't always know why when things are happening, but I can tell you that this is my fourth attempt at this video. My first attempt, my phone overheated. It's not hot out. And the video did not get saved. I don't know how or why, but I was at the end of it. And immediately after that, I got yelled at by some random guy who I don't know. I was in a park. I tried to record it outdoors. I was getting all this really negative attention. So I had to scrap that. And then I just got interrupted again. But so that's why I know that this message is very, very important. So I hope you'll stay tuned in. My gift is, my life purpose is as a healer and a teacher. It's something that I've chosen. My spiritual path is that of a healer and a teacher. And if you know anything about life paths, that's one of the more difficult ones to go through. And the reason being is that you have to walk through the fire in order to be able to convey these messages, because otherwise they're not really worth much if you haven't been through it yourself, right? So I have been through the fire. I truly have. I have a lot of trauma that I needed to heal, that I had experienced through life. I don't like you'll see in my first video, if you watched it or if you choose to watch it, you'll see in my first video that I don't even include my face. I'm an introvert. I don't like the camera. I've been made to feel very, very small throughout my life, and that I'm not worth listening to. I've always tried to abbreviate what I say because I don't feel like I'm worth listening to. So the fact that I'm even recording this and doing this is a big step for me. But part of my gift as a teacher and healer, and the reason why I've been chosen to do this and convey these messages, is I take very, very complex and complicated topics, and I make them digestible so people can do self-healing and realize the power that they have. And it's to give you power back, right? It's not to take it away. But really what I've been guided to talk to you about today is communication with the divine or source. And the reason being is, when I've known that I'm a teacher, I knew I was a healer as of 2018. It was conveyed to me, it was channeled to me. It was the first time I had ever channeled anything. And I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand it. I just knew I was told I was a healer. What does that even mean? I had no clue, if I'm being quite honest. So it wasn't until August of last year that I started to really walk through the fire. And what I mean by that is all people, places, and things were torn away from me by the divine because of my path. And I didn't understand it at the time. So you don't know what's happening. It's part of the spiritual process, and part of the learning process is learning, learning as you go. But I lost my partner. I was evicted from my apartment for no apparent reason, and I had no recourse against it. My family turned against me for no apparent reason. I lost my mother to COVID. My friends, who I thought were my friends, and my coworkers were slandering me, doing terrible things to me, and I didn't understand why. I actually couldn't even believe it. And I felt very alone, very, very alone. And it was scary. It was scary. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I've never been a religious person. I haven't. I went to Catholic school and I was raised Catholic. I was baptized, and I believed in God, but I didn't really have any relationship with God, in my opinion, right? And I cried out, like, why is this happening to me? I don't understand. I just want my peace back. I just want my peace back. And I wasn't getting it. I just wasn't getting it. And what I started to do, and the only place I knew where to turn to, because I was so alone, and I didn't know what to do. I was looking for answers. I turned to tarot, and I watched it almost like 24/7. Every waking hour, I would tune in and see if there was any updates on my situation, because they were reading my energy. Some of them were, some of them accurately. And some of the things they were saying were quite disturbing to me, because, again, I was blind to really what was going on, and I felt very blind to it. So I felt like tarot was giving me answers, but it was giving me a lot of information, a lot of negative information that really wasn't helpful, and it wasn't healing me. It was, if anything, it was traumatizing me even more. So I kept looking outward for answers. Outward. I never stopped, paused, and looked within, or even attempted to do any self-healing, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to heal myself. And at that point, I didn't even love myself. And that was the first thing that the divine sat me down to do, was to teach me how to love myself. And when I say I've been put in solitude for the past over the past year, I'm not exaggerating. I have not really I don't talk to anybody from my life. No friends, no family, no coworkers, nobody. And I've been on this journey alone. And it's been a lot. However, there's a lot of radical acceptance in what I've been put through, knowing that this is my life path. This is something that my soul chose before being incarnated on this earth. Doesn't make it easier to walk through the fire, because you still have to do it. It's been kind of terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. But as part of that, again, I'm an introvert. This is something that I'm not used to doing. Again, I've had a lot of things to work through, one of them being feeling very small and not worth listening to. So the fact that I'm sharing my knowledge out on YouTube is a pretty big deal for me. I had another channel. I had a tarot channel. The reason why I started that in the first place and was very quickly directed away from that was because that's what I turned to, and I wanted to give people a resource to go to get answers. But I was very quickly corrected by Source, or the divine, because my path is as a healer, as a teacher, not a tarot card reader. And that's no disservice to tarot card readers, because there are tarot card readers out there that are ordained to do exactly that. They're ordained to be communicators for other people like me, and like you, right? Like, they're legitimate tarot card readers who have been through the fire in their own way. They've been through torturous situations, having lost loved ones and children, and again, been evicted, been ostracized. They have their own stories. We all do. And there's no path that's necessarily easier than another. However, mine is as a healer and a teacher, and I'm not meant to do tarot card readings specifically, although I can read tarot cards, right? So the divine very quickly redirected me to start a different type of channel, and it's really, again, for self-healing and self-love, so we can heal our own trauma. And the purpose of that is so we don't project our trauma onto other people. And we may not think that we do that, and it doesn't make you a bad person if you do it, because I did it myself. If you have trauma, what you do is, because it's internalized and it has not been healed, you then project it onto the people around you, and it causes then more trauma. It's this perpetual cycle that we've been in for a long time. And things are changing in this world. And if you follow astrology and if you are a spiritual person, you know that in the age of Aquarius, things are changing. And it's no coincidence that, you know, I may have known that I was a healer since 2018, but I was not awake. I was fast asleep up until last August when I was literally shaken awake, and in the worst of ways. It took, and it literally, if you really think about it, it takes an immense amount of trauma to get you out of your comfort zone. I had way too much confidence in my material things and my relationships that were toxic, and again, material things that really had no value in my life. And I don't have any of my material things anymore. When I say I don't have any of them, I don't have 99% of them. Like, what you're looking at is pretty much what I walked away with, including my clothes. And that's okay, because that's my path and that's my purpose. People, places, and things. And I was evicted from my apartment with no recourse. So literally left with nowhere to go. And I was directed to go and follow my path, alone with Source, with the divine, and to trust in Source and the divine every step of the way. And I was terrified. I'm like, but what about this? And what about this? And like, what am I going to do about this? And it's scary to be torn away from everything. And I was so codependent on my relationships. I couldn't even imagine not having social media, which I don't. This is it. This is all I have is YouTube now. I don't have Facebook anymore, and I don't have Instagram. I don't have any of that. I couldn't even imagine life at that point without it. I had even my Google accounts were locked and taken away from me. Everything was shut down, taken away, and I was terrified. And I was told to just step out of my comfort zone and trust in only the divine. So I did, and I was put through the fire, and put through a lot of experiences where I was just told to trust in nothing other than the divine. And that's a really, really hard thing to do, because I can't see the divine, right? It's really hard to have faith, blind faith in something that you can't see, feel, touch, smell, anything. But I was getting clear messages that that's exactly what I needed to do. So I was really scared, but I did it, and it was my soul's choice to be a healer and a teacher. And the divine asked me to start this channel and to take topics that were given to me by him and to make them digestible and meaningful, so people can start to heal themselves. So really the first topic here today, I'm going to number these so I can refer back to them at a future point. But the first one, and the one that weighs most heavily on me, because it weighs most heavily on Source, is people communicating directly with Source themselves. And when I open my notebook, it's literally on the first page of this very long notebook where I take notes every day. It was an idea for a title of a video, and it's called Take Me to Church, with the U and the R missing in church, like when you play Hangman and you put the blanks there. So the intent there was like, what's missing here, and it's the intent is you are is missing in church, meaning you're missing from church. And that's not any disservice to people who go to church, because going to church is it's a form of devotion to the divine, right? Because at the basis of all religions, they're all the same, right? They all basically say, be a good person, don't talk behind people's back, don't hurt other people, don't gossip, don't slander people, don't steal, things like that. So I'm not saying anything about church or religion. I think devotion to Source or the divine in any form is a beautiful thing. I just do, and that's fine. But what Source is trying to get me to convey to you today in a very beautiful way is that we all have a direct connection to the divine. We do. and it's just a matter of being very intentful, if that's a word, in how we go about that. And it has to be in a meaningful way to you. And let me say that the divine will communicate with you in whatever way is most effective for you personally. And so when I started to go through the fire, watching all kinds of tarot, looking outward for answers, spinning my wheels, not feeling any better after I watched readings, getting conflicting information, and then watching more tarot to get more clarification, it really became this really awful cycle, because I was looking outward rather than inward. And again, I'm a teacher, I'm a healer. That's not a spiritual path to look outward. It's just not. So I got sat down, and I'm also a truth teller, so I can't sugarcoat anything. So, I had a problem with alcohol before I started my journey, and the divine saved me from that, okay? So I got through that, and that was fantastic. It really was. But when I was done with that, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. I'm all cured. Divine's like, nope. That's not even, like, that's just scraping the crap off the surface. And I was told that I don't love myself. And if you would have asked me at that point, I would have said, of course I love myself. And I think if I were to ask you one-on-one, if you love yourself right now, I think you'd say yes. I would, if you do have trauma and it's unhealed, I would beg to differ, and it's not to be argumentative. It's something that the divine wants me to convey to you, but also wants me to help you, bit by bit, to get to a point where you are healed. And the importance of that is so we don't project our trauma onto other people, because that's what we do. If we are unhealed, we project what we're feeling or what we've gone through onto other people, because we want to be able to relate to other people, and we want other people to relate to us. So in turn, we kind of mirror back to other people what we're feeling, and in turn we cause more trauma. So it becomes this perpetual cycle. So the divine was very, very clear after I started my tarot channel that was not my path. Although there are tarot card readers that are healers, they have a different path. They are communicator healers, right? So they convey messages from the divine, on behalf of the divine, through their channel, which happens to be tarot. Mine's channeling, and mine is it's just different. I get my messages the same way, but I'm to deliver it differently. I'm not necessarily a communicator through cards, although I can do that. And again, I was looking outward to all these different readers, getting all this conflicting information, and you probably found these messages because maybe you are looking outward for answers. And it's not to say that therapy's bad or tarot's bad. It's not. But we have to be careful about what we intake through what I've been told are our eye gates and our ear gates, right? What we hear and what we see and what we listen to and what we intake in general. So the news even. I've been cut away from all of that. I'm not allowed to watch TV. It's not allowed, but I don't watch TV. I don't read the news. I only have 3 tarot card readers, and the 3 tarot card readers that I watch they're ordained, and what they do is very important. They deliver messages to me when I'm a little off kilter, when my energy is not steady and I'm not getting clear messages from the divine. I can tune into these readers, and they will be able to deliver me messages that are helpful to me. so I can then communicate with the divine directly, or I can at least ask the divine for what I need, right, in that moment. But the reason why I only have those 3 readers is they choose to weave in messages about how they've walked through the fire into their messages. They will, they'll stop a reading and they'll interject and say, if they're reading some really negative energy, they'll be like, look, I don't know what is going on here, but look, this is why this should not be happening. Like, we all just need to be kind to each other. We all need to show each other a little bit more love. And I don't know why I keep reading this message. It's really disheartening. And I see readers have a hard time reading the energy when it repeats itself over and over and over again, when people aren't learning lessons. So, I was asked to start this channel, and I was very apprehensive about doing so, because I'm like, well, who's going to be interested in this? And I was told that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be interested in doing some self-healing in a different type of way. And my gift is to take very complex topics and make them digestible. So that's what we're going to do. And again, take me to church. What's missing there is you are. And the divine will always find a way to communicate with each and every one of us in our own unique ways, whatever works for us. He can read our thoughts. He can read our minds. He knows our intentions already. But what weighs heavy on him is that a lot of us don't turn to him with intent, saying, what I do is, I write out in the morning, like, divine, will you walk with me today and help me with ... And it's something that I'm struggling with, or I'm not clear on, or I need guidance on, whatever it might be, right? And I literally walk every day. I walk out in nature. It's very important for me to get out in nature. It's part of my healing process. It's part of my therapy, is to get out into nature and to just be surrounded by it and absorb the beauty in it. And it's how I transmute my energy too. But that's for me, right? But even if you just pray, or even if you just do it in your mind, it's important that you address it specifically to source, right? Or the divine, or God, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. No judgment, and hopefully you don't judge me for that. I love to love people. My job here is to operate in unconditional love, and to help heal people, and to be kind, and to show people a better way. And so we have to be intentful when we, want to communicate with the divine. But the reason why I say be intentful is because when you are intentful, when you communicate with the divine, like, so when I write, the reason why I write it down is so I can reference it back to it. Let's say at the end of the day, or, I have a whole book here, so I can go back months and see what I've, asked for. And when I get the answers, I write them down. When I think to, I don't always, but it amazes me how many times I get the answer, the exact answer I'm looking for, and it's almost always within the same day. It's not always in the same day, but we have to be open to getting the answers when we get them. So we can get them in a myriad of ways, and sometimes we get them immediately. Sometimes we get them in the form of synchronicities and numbers. In the time, it could be, triple digits, quadruple digits, like 111, 222, 333. And I encourage you, if you do get those, right after you've made an inquiry or you've had a concern, that you look up the meaning of those numbers. So also look for, like, repeating numbers like 1212, 1111, 1313, or inverted numbers like 1331, things like that. Those do have meaning, and you can think of them as just a coincidence, but nothing here is a coincidence. I promise you that. I've been driving on the highway, and I've been thinking about something or pondering something, and being intentful about sharing that with the source of the divine, and I'll get the answer on a license plate, or on the side of a truck, or on like a placard on the side of a car. Like, it's crazy how immediate some of the answers come. It really is. But when that happens, don't just take it as coincidence, because source can't pick up a phone and text or call or walk up to you and have a conversation. But what he can do is he can send you synchronicities. He can send you messages on the sides of cars, on on license plates. I have another example where I was in Walmart, and I was deep in thought about something, and I was asking whether or not I should or should not do something, and I was really unsure, and I was kind of tore up about it. And I look up, and the guy in front of me is wearing a shirt with like a full sentence on the back of it, and it wasn't the answer I wanted, but it made me laugh because it was literally a perfect answer to my question. So although it wasn't necessarily the answer I wanted in the wording that I wanted, I had to laugh because I got the answer immediately as soon as I looked up. But I had to pay attention to it. I couldn't just write it off as, oh, Source didn't make him put that shirt on just so I can get my answer today. Don't underestimate Source and what he's capable. When I say he, it's an energy. What Source is capable of doing, because Source is omnipresent. Source has control over everything and anything. So even animals that we cross, look up the meaning of it. If you see an animal that you don't normally see on a day-to-day basis, after you've been pondering a question or you've asked a question, look up the meaning of that animal. Look up in the sky and see if there's birds flying around, because I've seen eagles like circling above me on multiple occasions. 2 days ago, I walked by a dead raccoon, like just full out dead, just laying there like 2 feet away from me, and I'm like, what does that mean? And I looked it up, and it means that a cycle of my life is over, and I'm starting a new cycle. And that new cycle was literally starting this channel, and that was my sign to get moving on it, right? It's strange, and I don't always I have to Google these things, but we have the resources now to look up the meaning of these things. But understand that Source will communicate with us however he can. But also understand that when we ask and ponder these things, people will be sent into our lives to either give us a lesson, or maybe sometimes just give us an answer, or maybe just sometimes show us some kindness. And you'd be surprised at the myriad of ways that people could be sent into our lives. So, that example of the guy wearing the t-shirt at Walmart, that's not a coincidence. And he did own that shirt, and he just happened to put it on that morning because I needed that answer at that exact moment, and it gave me the answer that I needed. It's just an example. But sometimes we just need to be shown some compassion because we're having a rough day, and the divine will send somebody into our lives to be kind, to show us some kindness, where it will awe and amaze us. And there's a shortage of that in this world. But for example, this is my fourth attempt at this video, and I'm a healer, I'm a teacher. My path is not meant to be easy. It's the messages that I'm delivering are very important. So there's a lot of things against my messages, right? So it wasn't easy to deliver this message, and it wasn't easy to keep my mood and my vibration high after I got yelled at by some random guy who had no reason to be yelling at me. Like, I don't know what his problem was, but it was very clear to me that it was, a test for me to stay vigilant and being able to deliver these messages and not to give up, never to give up. I'm a healer, I'm a teacher, my path is not meant to be easy. So I just took it as a lesson, as a test. And, one of the things that the divine conveyed to me when he said he wanted me to start this channel, and I say it's an energy, was turn your mess into a message and your test into a testimony. And that's really what this channel is. But Source really wants us to communicate directly with him with intent. And again, I say with intent, it's so we then are open to hearing the response. Because if we're just throwing out, why is this happening? And we're not talking to Source. When we get the answers, or when we see an answer or a synchronicity, or we see a totem animal that we should be paying attention to, or the synchronicities, or the license plates, or the t-shirts, or the person that crosses our path, when that happens, we're not open to seeing it as a response from Source. We just see it, right? We just dismiss it. Oh, that's just a coincidence. There's not any coincidences. Coincidences are coordinated incidences. That's what they are. So understand that Source doesn't have the means to communicate with us the way we'd like it to. I don't hear voices. I don't hear voices. I have gotten to a clear spiritual place. So my channels are open. So I get downloads, I call them. And you'll hear other people call them downloads. They're intuitive hits. And when I see, the synchronicities, I now know what they mean. And I know when I'm seeing an answer versus just seeing something. And again, very, very little is coincidence. I don't really think anything is. So that's one thing, is, communicate with the divine with intent. My personal preference, again, and this is what I would encourage you to do, is just to get a notebook and a pen and just keep it by your bed in the morning. And if there's something that's really bothering you, you can do this any time of day, it doesn't really matter. But if there's something that's bothering you or nagging you, or you're confused about, you need clarity on, ask for it. Ask for it. And then when you see the synchronicities, don't ignore them. Don't write them off as just coincidences. Look up the meanings of them, and start recording those too, right? It's important. And sometimes we'll get the answers in little pieces. And sometimes we'll get a lesson through a person. So, my lesson with the guy yelling at me before I came here was this is not going to be an easy path. Delivering these messages, I'm going to face a lot of adversity. A lot of people who don't want me to deliver these messages. But I have to keep trying. And it's just to be diligent about it. But this is a bigger part of the message. Don't think that the divine won't use you to help answer somebody else's quandaries or questions that they're dealing with. Because we walk around and we are lessons for other people as well. And our actions have consequences, right? So, I've gotten a lesson to bring the best version of myself to every situation. So when I'm around other people, I'm directed to be kind under any circumstances. So when that guy yelled at me, I said, oh, okay. And it wasn't what he was expecting me to do. He was expecting me to flip out on him, and he went, you could see the confusion in his face, what the heck's wrong with you? But I wasn't going to react. He wasn't going to get my energy, because that's what was wanted out of me. I wanted to change my vibration, my mood. But, I want to give you an example. I went to the gas station the other day, and it was a Sunday, and the lady got out of her car with, her son. He looked to be about 4 years old, and she looked beautiful, and I could smell her perfume, and she smelled great. And I can feel people's energy, and I know she wasn't expecting a compliment. So I simply told her what I was thinking, and I'm like, you look really nice. You look beautiful. And I'm like, you really smell good too. I'm like, what perfume is that? And she told me, and she was like, thank you. And I could just see like her face light up. And I know it made her day, and it sounds so simple, but I wasn't going to let that moment pass me by without sharing what was on my mind, because that's wasted, right? Don't if you think something kind about somebody, don't envy it, don't look down on it, compliment them. Like if you're working with a group of people at work that you really enjoy, going in and working with on a daily basis, take the time to tell these people, because they're not expecting you to. And there's not enough of that, right? So when you truly appreciate something, say it. Just say it instead of being envious of it or holding it in. Show kindness. There's a lot of power in gratitude and appreciation. There's tons. So like even when you watch a tarot card reader and you've gotten something out of it, don't just like the video. Take the time to comment and say something kind, right? Because these people are putting their energy out there. And it's important to compliment each other. It really, truly is. And we just don't do enough of that. So the more of that we can do, we can collectively change the way we react to things, right? We can change the way the collective thinks. It really bothers me to see panhandlers. I want to give you another example. I went to Walmart, it was a couple weeks ago, and there was a panhandler there playing his violin, and he had a button-down shirt on and dress pants and shiny shoes, and he had the case of his violin open, and it literally, the sound of it melted my heart. It was beautiful, and it was so loud, it like filled the whole parking lot. And it, as loud as the parking lot was, it just literally, that's all you could hear was the violin. It was just so beautiful. And I don't even have cash. I just don't. And I had $7 in my pocket, and it's the last time I've had cash in my pocket. And I went into Walmart, and I decided when I came out that I was going to give him my last $7. So I walked up to him, and I shook his hand, and I thanked him for sharing his talent with us and sharing it in such a beautiful way, because it was so beautiful. But he was bringing his best self to a very dire situation. He had a sign saying, "Please help me and my family." And he had a fair amount of money in his case, and for good reason, right? So I wanted to thank him the best way I knew how, which was with the last of what I had. The divine has always told me that I'm never going to go without, and I trust in that so much that I let go of the last $7, because what good is that going to be to me in comparison to somebody who needs it so much? And he did it in such a beautiful way that I had to, and he was so appreciative of it. And he did it in such a beautiful and selfless way, where he, instead of just standing there, holding a sign, he stood there in the hot sun, and he played his heart out, and he made beautiful music for everyone. He shared his gift, right? And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to share my gift. And we should all do that. We should all bring the best version of ourselves to even the most dire of situations, right? Am I in a dire situation? I have everything I need in one way or another. Is it pretty scarce? Yeah, it is, which is why I ask for donations. But I don't do it for that purpose. I do it because it's my life's purpose. My life's purpose literally is to be a healer and a teacher. And just so you know, they just started mowing now, so there's another distraction for me, but I'm not stopping the video. I'm going to keep going no matter what. But there's not enough kindness in this world, so if there's anything that you take away from this message, is obviously start communicating with the divine with intent, and then listening and watching, and not dismissing the answers that you get, because understand There's only certain ways that the divine can communicate with us, and that's going to be through people, places, and things. So look out for those messages. Look out for those lessons from people. Like, again, the guy who tried to piss me off before I delivered this message wanted me to give up on trying for the fourth time now to deliver it in a kind and loving and loving way, right? To share my gift. Nothing was going to stop me, even though it's been exhausting, right, and very frustrating in its own way. That's part of my path, and also a lesson for me that this is not going to be easy, and that's okay. I didn't expect it to be, but also that you yourself you're an avenue for Source to use. I don't want to say use, to utilize, to help deliver messages, and that can be in the form of literal help, right? Helping somebody on the side of the road. Even if I don't have money to give a panhandler, sometimes I'll go up and I'll give them some food if I have it, or I'll just go up and talk to them for a little bit, right? And just let them know that I care, because if that's all I have, that's all I have. And I'll tell them, I don't have anything to give you, but are you okay? And just to let them know that somebody cares, because do you know how many people walk by them and look down or away because they don't want to do anything, they don't want to give anything. And the fact of the matter is, you don't have to give money or food or anything. Sometimes you just have to show that you care, and that doesn't just go for panhandlers, it goes for everybody, right? There's such a shortage of kindness in this world today that it's so unexpected that people appreciate that just as much, if not more, than actual gifts of money or food or things like that. Just show some kindness, but understand that you have to be open to communicating with Source in whatever way that you choose. The reason why I started the tarot channel is because that was my way of sewing back into communicating, right? I wanted to give other people answers, but again, I was quickly halted. That's not my path. This is my path. Communicating through my words and my lessons, not through tarot, because there's enough good tarot readers out there. But again, if you are looking to tarot, be mindful and discerning about the messages that you're intaking, and make sure that you're not just listening to the information that you want to hear. Make sure that you're listening to readers that are truly ordained, and they're weaving their own personal messages into what they're telling you. And a good rule of thumb if you're watching tarot or doing anything is how do you feel afterwards? If you don't feel good afterwards, don't keep doing it. It's pretty simple, right? I don't always get messages from my readers that I want to hear, but they never make me feel bad. I take it as a lesson, and I'll communicate with the divine. I'll ask for guidance on that, rather than take it as, oh man, that's not what I want to hear, I'm going to go listen to another reader. I take it in as a lesson, I digest it, and I move along, and I get my answers, and I grow, right? I heal. And healing is an ongoing process, and if I'm alive every day, I'm going to have to heal every day. That's a fact. Just because I'm a healer teacher does not mean I know everything. It just means that I've walked through the fire, and I can share these messages because I've personally experienced them. So be open to expressing yourself to the divine. Be open to getting your answers from the divine in unconventional ways, in ways that are relatable to you, because again, he's going to use methods and communication methods that are conducive to you. So if you do listen to a lot of tarot, that's fine. He'll give you your answers through tarot. Just be discerning about what tarot readers you're listening to, and use your intuition about, how they always say, only take what resonates, leave the rest. That's a real thing. The reason why those readers say that is because that's exactly what it means. Because not every message is for you. Not every piece of the message is for you. Understand too that If you have a trusted reader, watch the whole message. Don't just tune out if you don't think it's for you. If it starts out, with the King of Cups and you're not the King of Cups, don't just tune out, because there could be one piece of information in that entire reading that is for you. Just be discerning about it. Use your intuition. Take what resonates, leave the rest. And that goes for everything. But everything, there is no coincidence. It's all coordinated incidences. Please. That's what the divine wants you to know. So he does communicate. He does give you the answers, just not always in a conventional way, because he can't. It's going to be through people, places, and things. I'm one of those people. I'm going to help give you lessons to help you heal along the way. And I'm somebody that, again, operates in unconditional love, and I have forgiven everybody in my life, no matter what they've done to me. And that's been no easy feat. The divine trusts me to the nth degree to deliver these messages to you. And I have so many more. But this is literally step one, is communicating with the divine, but also understanding that you need to bring your best self to every interaction with other people. Even if you're having a terrible day, don't project. Don't project. Don't project your bad day. Don't project your trauma. Hold it in and bring the best version of yourself to every situation. Even if you're having a shitty day, hold that door. Say thank you. Say excuse me. Be kind. If somebody's struggling with, getting upstairs, right? If you see somebody who's got too many bags in their hands and they're struggling to get to their car, help them. Not only are you going to feel better for doing it, and you're going to walk away ignited, and every interaction you have after that, you're going to feel better about it. You're going to feel better, and you're actually going to improve your own mood. But then the person that you've helped is going to be so amazed and so astonished by the kindness that you showed them, and so appreciative that they're then going to project that kindness onto other people, right? It's igniting kindness and love. So that's really the lesson for today. That's it. It's pretty simple. And if you're looking to tarot for answers, again, I don't want to discount it, but be discerning, take what resonates, leave the rest. But also come back here, because I have so many more lessons that the divine is channeling to me. I might even record another one today if time allows, if I don't keep getting interrupted. And again, the mower is getting closer, so I'm gonna probably have to move if I do another message. But I have so much that I want to share, and so much love that I want to give. So I ask that you sow into this channel by liking and subscribing, so other people can receive these messages, right? And that's an energy exchange when you do that. And I have my email address in the description. I encourage you to reach out to me if you need an answer to something. I'm not a licensed therapist, but what I'm offering and what I've been guided to offer is talk therapy. I'm a great listener, and when I give advice, and this has always been the case with me, and I didn't know I had this gift, I didn't, but I always get my advice. The advice I give others is from the divine, right? It's always in the best interest of the person that I'm talking to. And so I offer talk therapy, but I don't have any set prices yet. I have an idea of what I want to charge, but if it's something that you're interested in, reach out. And I kind of want to customize it based on everybody's individual needs, right? Because no two people are going to have the same needs, right? And the complexity of the issues is never going to be the same. I also offer prayers, so personal prayers. So if you want to email me, my Venmo's in there as well. I charge $11.11 for prayers. My prayers are very powerful. I'm ordained. I'm an earth angel. I am a chosen one, and people are going to ask, then why do you charge for prayers? I've been guided to do so, right? This is my livelihood, and it's my gift. And that's part of the new world, is my value isn't conventional. It's not what we think of what value is today. It's not, I work all day, every day. I spiritually develop myself all day, every day, and I have been for a long time now. And I don't get paid for it because there's no inherent value in today's society. That's changing. And I hope that you see the value in what I'm sharing with you. And I hope that you know that when I say a prayer for you, it will mean something. But I want you to email me, and you don't have to share all the detail about your situation. You could give me a very high level. You could just say a prayer for me, and I Venmo'd you the money, and I can say a prayer for you. But I want to know who you are, and that's so I can read your energy. And I can do that through an email. I can do that through a phone conversation. If you want me to do tarot for you, I can do a tarot reading for you as well. And those will, the talk therapy, the chat therapy, the listening, whatever you want to call it, and the tarot sessions are 30 minutes a piece. And my first instinct is to charge $60 for that. So if you're interested, just write me an email. If you're just interested in inquiring about it, or you just have a question for me, if you're curious about something, I encourage you to email me. I will do my best to respond to every email. My love is free, but we all have to make a living, right? And my value in the new earth is, it's unconventional. It's not what we consider value today, and that's okay. I'm not here to set the same blueprint as everybody before me. I'm actually here to show people a different way, a better way, right? And that's what my life purpose is, and that's why I was awakened a year ago. It was to walk through the fire so I could sit here today and do something that I never thought possible, and give you messages that I never thought I would have the knowledge to spit out the way I do. But I've been through it, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because I do love people. I truly love humanity, and I want to see us heal. I want to see us heal ourselves, because we all have the capability to heal ourselves, and the only way we're ever going to heal is to heal ourselves. Again, not discounting therapy or other methods of healing, but understand that we have to look within. We have to be discerning. We have to take what resonates and leave the rest, right? So with that, if nobody's told you that they love you today, I do. I truly do. I love everybody unconditionally. It doesn't mean I let everybody into my energy field. It doesn't mean I want to be around everybody, but I do love everybody. And that's period. So I just want to say a quick prayer of love, light, healing, and hope to each and every one of you. I hope you find peace in your hearts and minds to make the right decisions about people, places, and things that are in your best interest, of your highest good. I pray for those who have not yet found the light. I hope and pray that they find the light in the divine, and when they do, that they share their stories of inspiration and love with others, so they too can find the light. It's that simple. I love you all, and I hope you'll sow into the channel, again, by even just liking, subscribing, donating, or inquiring, or asking for a prayer. Any of the above are appreciated. They're energy exchanges, and it took a lot of energy to get this out. A couple hours of work just to make one video, which it's crazy to think, but nothing was going to stop me. And it was my test. It was my test to see. I know the divine was testing me to see if I was going to make this video no matter what, and I did. I'm about to post it, so I'm going to number these so I can refer back to them in the future, because I know that these messages are going to overlap. But this is lesson 1. It's communication with the divine, and that you are so important that he will use you in his messages. Just be open to hearing them, and be open to doing a little research in order to get there. But anyway, I love you. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.